My name is Katie MacRae. I was born at a place called Walthamstow. My date of birth is the 17th of November 1917, so you can work out how old I am from there. The headmistress of the school wanted to send me to an art school because I always used to come top in art class. I didn't want to go, and my parents never pressured me. I wish they had, really. The creativity of it and seeing something come to life on your canvas, relaxation to me it was. I haven't done any for years for the simple reason I moved away from my house, and I like painting outside, and I used to put my easel outside at the side of the pool that we had, and I used to paint there. But here I have nowhere, it's a smaller place now. I like to be able to leave the easel up and walk away and leave it. I can't do that here, so that was a bit of a make-up one. It's not a place, just a street. I'm very fond of road scenes, which I expect you've noticed going around or what, looking at the paintings I've done. I love doing roads and streets and buildings. I'm very interested in buildings, yeah. I wish my parents had made me go, because I would have been a good artist today, whereas I've just let it go, yes. 14, yes. Because don't forget, we left school earlier in those days. We left school at 14. I really did it for my own pleasure. The same as today, really. Watercolours, oils. I preferred working in oils. But my husband, he was a draftsman. Well, he ended up chief draftsman of a very large office in England. And he was really a beautiful artist. I learnt a lot from him. He did watercolours, whereas I chose the easier one, oils. And we moved house, and we moved to another county called Middlesex. It was from here that I went to work at HMV, Her Majesty's Voice, or His Majesty's Voice probably in those days. It was a gramophone company, and they made records, and I went and worked in the office there. I left there, and then I went and had a job at a place called Temple Press in London, and I used to travel backwards and forwards by train from Hayes in Middlesex. I can remember my wage was, I think it was 10 shillings and sixpence. It cost a lot more for my fare, so my parents didn't do very well out of me, did they? But Temple Press in London, they printed all the magazines like shipping, I think, cars, motorbikes, all that sort of thing, yes. There, I started as a little messenger girl and gradually worked my way up to be a secretary, yes. Enjoyed my life, really. I met a draftsman. That's where I met your grandfather, great-grandfather, Thomas. Well, you see, it was meeting your great-grandfather that we got married. Then we moved away again from Hayes in Middlesex, and we went to Essex. And then the war started. I'm up now to 1939, and the war started, and the 1st of November 1940, I had your father, John, named John. The war lasted, was it 5 years? I think it finished in 1946. Terrible years. We got bombed. We were living close to London. It wasn't a bomb, it was a landmine. And fortunately, it was a vacant lot of ground, and the landmine dropped there, and all our doors, windows came in, shredded all the curtains. And in those days we had fires, it brought all the soot down the chimney onto your grandpa, John, and he was covered in soot. A horrible time, really. And then after that we heard another German plane coming over, and it was dropping its bombs. And I think they carried 5 or That's it. You could hear them. It was so close, you could hear them coming down. And we thought, this is it. This is our lot. And it dropped in the next road and it killed a lot of people. Yes, very sad time. It was a double-storey house and we never slept upstairs. And we had, having a baby, we were, through the government, they provided us with a steel shelter and we had a mattress in there and slept under there. I mean, it wouldn't have saved us from a direct hit, but from shrapnel and stuff, it would have helped. And of course, rationing. I can remember queuing for about 2 hours to get a couple of oranges to give to John, squeeze the juice, and I just got to the counter, sold out. That's the sort of thing we had to put up with during the war, yes. Considering it was wartime, it was in a very nice, a brand new hotel. I think I've already mentioned the cake was horseshoes, 3 horseshoes, and the decoration went through from the bottom to the top of making the ring. It's very nice, and I think there would have been about over 100 guests, mostly friends and relatives, and we had dancing and all that with a band afterwards. That was quite nice. It was an awful wet day, rather like today, pouring of rain. And I remember when we came out the church, all the draftsmen were there with their T-squares and they put them up, clapped, and they made an arch for us to walk through. Yes. You just couldn't have a honeymoon. It was wartime and you couldn't, I mean the beaches were, well, they had wire netting and all sorts of things, and hidden, what you call explosives, I don't know, all that sort of thing. My 50th wedding anniversary was absolutely lovely. I remember it so well. We had all relations and friends, and it was held downstairs in what we called the games room because we had a built-in bar and decorated all up with flowers. It was a bit horsey really. We had the horses' aims and all sorts of things to do with horses around on the wall. We had caterers in. My lovely daughter-in-law Patricia, she made the cake. It was a horseshoe, shape of a horseshoe. That was beautiful. She's so good at that sort of thing. The same as my wedding cake. I remember Pat saying that she had a job to get the actual shape, but she managed it, and the icing was like a pale gold. She put on the top, I think it was my bridesmaids' flowers, which were anemones. Yes, that was lovely. And on the table we had gold miniature roses, and actually the table was in a form of a horseshoe in a way, because the top table and then the other table coming off, tables coming round. Yes. At this time we were living at Terry Hills down in Sydney, a very nice country area, and friends of ours that lived not far away, they had horses. When they went away to their farm at Wagga Wagga, we used to go and feed the horses, and it was lovely. This is where I think it all started, and they gave me these aims and saddles and things and horseshoes around, and that's how really it started with the horse business. Yes, it was lovely because they knew their names. We used to call them and they'd come by name. It's beautiful. At 21, I was married at 22 and I had John at 23. How's that? I didn't really want to come to Australia. It was my husband that wanted to come because at that stage I was secretary to the librarian at Elliott Automation in England. I enjoyed the job. I didn't want to leave my friends, but I gave in and we came to Australia. I don't regret it for 1 minute because we both got jobs as soon as we got here. We became naturalised Australians. I just could not go back to England and live. Mainly the weather. We came in 1965. Oh dear, I would have been about, 45? Something like that. Yes. So I've been here a long time too. Yes. I retired from work. I've had appendix operation, which turned out worse than just that. It was peritonitis, and I really almost lost my life then. I think I would have been about 55. And then I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I joined the senior citizens and we played bowls. I have a trophy in my cabinet there to prove that we won against about 7 other clubs. I played tennis up until I was in my early 80s. Then I think the grandchildren started coming, and then of course babysitting and enjoying them, yes. I haven't got a big garden, as you can see. It's quite small. I enjoy it. This is supposed to be my clothesline, but I dry it inside, and I've grown this over. This was a 100th birthday, yes, my 100th, from friends of mine, which is quite nice. It's lovely. They live in Sydney and they're coming up to see me soon, yes. A cutting from Pat and John's garden, and it's just grown and grown. It's called Blupermansia. That bougainvillea is just starting to come into bloom, and I had that when I was in Sydney, and I brought it with me, and it's still going. I've joined the Australasian Order of the Old Bastards Club. It's purely for charity, and we give money for children with cancer. I think it goes to the Westmead Hospital down in Sydney. So we don't do anything very much, but we had raffles to make money, and I wish I could still play tennis, but I can't anymore. I do my own shopping, my own housework, my own little garden, back and front, and I feel so lucky. It's so different living in Australia. I love it. It's more open air life. I mean, the weather. I love it. Story of my life. This is a kaleidoscope, 50th wedding anniversary from Pat and John. If I remember rightly, they had it made. He had a shop in the Victoria, is it called Victoria Arcade in Sydney? It's a beautiful thing. And also I had the brass rubbings sent from England. My niece Heather did those. They were lovely, really nice. Of course I had a letter from the Queen, a photograph of her. I really should write and say, Mom, because I think that's what you call her, Mom. I hope I shall still be alive for when you are 100, and I will send you a birthday card. I don't think I'll be around then. Yes, I had quite a few cards from the Governor General and Prime Minister Malcolm, and the club I belong to, the Bastards Club, they put on a nice cake and afternoon tea. Much to my surprise, a photograph was put in the local paper, and a neighbour, a very good neighbour of mine, collected 15 copies of the paper, so I was busy cutting them out and sending them off to England and Sydney and places, yes. My life has been long. I wish I could have it all over again. I enjoyed almost every minute. The only part I didn't like was the war years. They were pretty awful, but on the whole, I really have enjoyed my life, especially this part in Australia when all the grandchildren came, and now great-grandchildren. There's Amie, Nathan, Ryan, there's Micheala, Andrews, my grandson Andrew's 2 girls, Micheala and Amber. I wish you all well in your whatever careers you choose. And I must mention Lyndi and Joanne, especially Joanne, who is expecting her baby in a couple of weeks' time. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for her. It's going to be a little girl, we know that. So I just wish all of you the best that you, and please don't waste your life. Life is so short. Make the most of it. That would be my advice.